Winter is such an incredible time to get outside. There's something about the solitude, the quiet, and the cold that calls to me. But there's also more risk when everything is frozen, the roads are slippery, and you're miles from anything resembling help. This past year, I went on 3 incredibly epic snow adventures that showed me a fresh take on familiar places and introduced me to some incredible locations I'd never been. I also had good friends with me on each trip who not only kept good company, but problem solved when things didn't go as planned. And things never went as planned. The first adventure took place in the Canadian Rockies, also known as the Kootenies. I set out with my great friend Lance, and we met up with Nate from Dirt Lifestyle to see if we could make it through British Columbia's most famous off-road trail in the winter. Our trip started at night at the Whipsaw trailhead. So we just hit the Whipsaw trailhead. I don't know how cold it is. It's probably like in the high 20s right now, so it doesn't feel too cold. There's about 2 inches of fresh snow on the trail right now, so it's pretty manageable in terms of snowpack. We're just starting, so we'll see how it goes when we get into it. So far, so good, and let's see what this trail's like.
Nate, you're the party leader right now, dude. I feel like we're having a little bit of a fiesta driving behind you.
Oh yeah, dude. I hope you're ready to party.
He's got these rock lights, and they're always on like light show, so they go from purple to yellow to red to green. It's the best.
We're here, boys. We're on the Whipsaw. We're going up the mountain. We're climbing.
Whipsaw is such an awesome name.
I imagine we're going to start getting into the deep stuff relatively quickly if it exists.
On the ski hill, this is what I would call like a groomed run. What snow level do you start to have fun? Like how many inches do you need for it's like, this is fun?
I don't know, 3 feet. Oh, dude, we're getting into it. But I could just feel a little more float.
It's looking a little bit more like a winter wonderland up here.
There's the cabin.
Nate, what are you making tonight?
I often on the weekends I have steak. So just because I'm not at home doesn't mean I don't want to eat good. So we're having steak. I like to saute some vegetables to put on my steak. I've got a little blue cheese crumbles to put on it over there. I like to eat well out here.
Lance, what are you doing? Definitely not steak, right?
No.
You're not making steak?
Meat.
That is so good. I like the best steak I've had in a long time. Thank you, Lance.
So another thing that Nate has is this gazelle tent that he put the walls on. And the idea is that we're gonna light a fire in there with a propane fireplace, and it's gonna heat us up. We're gonna hang out inside this thing. It'd be nice and cozy. So we'll see if that's gonna work or not later. That night, we got to know each other a bit around the fire, and that would make a big difference the next day when we'd have multiple problems to solve together.
And so when I go out by myself,
Good morning. It's cold. Let's have some coffee. Yeah, so it's 6:30. Boy, that really helps take the edge off. Man, I love coffee on a cold morning. Nate's making breakfast. We're just packing up, but we came in the night. We don't know where we are, so we might just put up the drone and see where the heck we are. So I made the mistake last night of airing down my tires a little too much. I've got like 9 and like 5, 5, and 6. And so we don't know what's ahead. I don't really want to take a hard turn on accident and throw a bead this morning. So I'm going to use the Kraken your inflation system to air up. And the good news is, the thing's so fast, I'll be done in like 3 minutes. If you're interested in learning more about this air inflation system, you can visit the link in the description of this video.
Mr. Lance and Will, it is an honor to be out here with you guys. What do you think so far? Is this the deepest snow you've been in, or have you been in stuff deeper than this?
I've been in some snow that's been deeper than this, but not going where we're going, it would be like, you know, just snowed a lot on a road. This is a very different environment for me.
Yeah, ditto. I don't see this kind of snow too much because I'm usually rolling by myself and don't get into this level of risk.
You want like a foot and a hard pack, and then like 2 feet of powder on top of that is kind of like really nice. If it's fresh powder, like 2 really good fresh feet on top of a foot of hard pack, like it's phenomenal.
Being from Idaho, I'm no stranger to driving in the snow, but as I was about to find out, snow wheeling takes a totally different approach. You have to go slow to go fast, a lesson that was hard for me to learn. That looks really awesome. I have no idea what I'm gonna do though.
You should go right up.
Yeah, fuel left, Will?
Honestly, I'm still learning this rig. All right, Will, I'm gonna have you lead, dude. I'm gonna pull off.
Okay.
Different feeling being in the front.
Almost like snowmobiling or skiing a little bit. I love it. Love fresh powder.
So we're just making our way along the Whipsaw, which is so weird for me to say. Like, Whipsaw is like a legendary trail for me. It's like been in my imagination for so long. The fact that we're out here doing it in the winter in fresh powder is just a dream right now, and with like the best guy possible. Like, when it comes to snow wheeling, there's nobody better than Nate. So he's like giving me lessons, he's, you know, teaching me about snow wheeling, and I'm having a total blast right now. And I gotta tell you, being out here right now in the Canadian wilderness on this iconic trail in the middle of open meadows is just amazing.
We're trudging into areas that, you know, people just don't go with these rigs. And it gives you a sense of adventure, of discovery, and of, you know, just, it's like there's a specialness to it.
You just listed like half the reasons that I love snow reeling. We're the only people up here. We own the mountains, where in the summertime it's gonna be flooded with people.
Do you guys want to go see the cabin?
I would love to.
So this is Dick's cabin, and it looks like it's got lots of use. They were saying, I met some friends on snowmobiles over there, we're just chatting with them. They said in the winter, the snow is all the way up past the metal here, and that this year the snow is really low.
I didn't go in, I was waiting for you.
Oh yeah, it's pretty creepy. It's like a Smurf cabin. Oh yeah, look at this, there's a little stove. You get warmed up. Hopefully not murdered or anything when you're in here.
I bet you this was originally for livestock.
Oh, but there is a stove in there. And get in this cabin?
I do.
All right, call me and I'll tell you all the reasons that I'm not coming with you.
I tell you, those are a couple of the nicest snowmobilers I've ever ran into.
This is how Canadians have fun, I guess. I get it. Looks pretty awesome. It sounds ridiculous. Sounds like a bunch of sheep on steroids. No offense, snowmobilers.
The views aren't bad, eh?
That blows my mind.
We've officially made it to real snow now. This is awesome.
Yeah, it looks like it accumulates in these flats.
And just outstanding views of those mountains to our left.
We've officially made it to the deep, guys. This is the good stuff right here. It's not like powder, like where you're plowing over the hood, but this is the actual real technical driving snow. pretty serious snowdrift here on the driver's side. I think we might run into something. There is a problem in front of us. I think I'm going to drop tire pressure, gentlemen.
Looks like open field, lots of snow, hardly any tracks.
See how it's all kind of like, it came down pretty clean right here whenever it snowed, and it just packed up. Right there you can see where the snow has been blown by the wind and piled way up. And then on the other side of that, it turns back into this. So what I'm seeing is some very deep soft snow right here. So
snow drift, right?
It's a big snow drift. And you can see there's like no trees that come right down through here. And so the wind has just been like piling it. So I'm gonna do my best, but I have a feeling it's gonna take a few attempts. We'll see. But I'm just reading the snow, and you can tell like that is deep.
Do you think this is a trip stopper?
How dare you even bring up a trip stopper? Pulling up the throttle as soon as I stop. The tires keep turning and you're not moving forward, you're moving down. So I'm just kind of getting enough momentum to plow through these little banks that I'm creating, and then I stop as soon as it stops going forward, just to be safe. It's so easy to get buried.
Now it's my turn. Okay, Nate just plowed through this drift for me, so I'm going second here, but this Jeep does not float nearly as good as his Toyota does. I've just been kind of finding holes. I feel like I'm in a hole right now, actually. Can't even get going, so I can just rocking back and forth here. No dice. No dice. Let's see what we're gonna do.
We give it way more winch before you start moving tire. Your truck needs to go forward like 4 to 6 inches before you start giving it throttle. There we go.
And come on back here.
So the plan is to kinetic recover him?
Oh, yeah.
Like drag him through?
Yeah, because I have a feeling we might need to do more than one. So it's just worth it, just hook up right once. We'll get you there. Once he's back on top, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
4, let's do this. 3, 2, 1, go.
There he goes.
I'm gonna give you a big one. I'm gonna try to do this in one shot.
Keep going, Lance.
Thank you, sir. Not a problem at all.
Well, there you go. This is exactly why we wanted to come out here with Nate, because he knows how to do all these recoveries. That was, I don't know, probably an hour and a half of our day getting through this one little meadow. But a ton of fun. I learned a ton. It's pretty awesome to see that Tacoma doing what it does best in the snow. It's really impressive.
Need a bumper sticker that says keep the whipsaw weird, man.
100%. If one doesn't exist, we should make one.
Nothing here to see, just a kill out me, trying to cut some teeth, trying to figure it out.
Crossing these kinds of fields is really dangerous. We want to all be real nice and tight.
Nothing better to do when I'm stuck on you. I'm here trying to figure it out.
And I can see the top of where we're going in front of me. From there, we should start working our way down.
So here's the problem. I'm not really getting anywhere at the moment. I've been stuck for a while. Lance kind of bumped me out, pulled me out a little bit, but then I got stuck again. I think Nate is stuck somewhere, so we're gonna walk down and see if he needs any help and maybe grab his traction boards. Maybe I'm new at this, so I'm not exactly sure what we're supposed to do. But we'll walk down and maybe put our heads together with Nate. So Nate has also gotten stuck, and he is winching himself to a tree to try to get something to pull him forward. right? Looks like Nate is unstuck and he's gonna try to turn his truck around.
We're gonna let a couple more PSIs out of these tires.
Oh. I think Nate's gonna go down to like 4 PSI or something in the back and 6 in the front, or some crazy number.
No,
4 in the front, 3 in the back.
Yeah.
4 in the front, 3 in the back. It's very, very low. But that's what he needs to float on this stuff.
For me, the biggest problem that I'm having with all this isn't even necessarily how hard the snow is or any of that. I mean, we've only done a couple of recoveries. The biggest problem is that I can't see the trail. Like, I have no idea where it is. We're having to use drones to go up and guess where we see dark lines. And that's cost us so much time here because I'm zigzagging around because we don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And it's a big time suck if you want to get off the mountain anytime soon. So I think that's like a big part of our decision, right?
Like, we're not getting off the mountain tonight. We go back. Yeah. It's a matter of like what.
Which wasn't the original plan anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We're not getting off the mountain tonight, Lance.
Didn't plan to.
Lance has turned it into like the old man on the mountain.
Oh yeah,
He's at peace now.
He's sniffing the air. So how far through the gnarly stuff are we, do you think?
I don't.
You don't think we're
Well, so we're
in
gonna.
the
I mean,
gnarly
we're in the gnarly top, and we're gonna drop down into this basin, and then we're gonna climb up out. Yeah.
You're right.
And then we drop.
So this goes
out
down,
again.
but then it goes back up higher than we are now.
Correct.
Not by like a boatload, but higher.
But this is what's getting me. Okay, so we did this last night. Piece of cake, right?
Yeah.
That's what we gotta do to get back to Route 5.
As far as like the distance, like I'm not as concerned about the distance. I'm concerned about the obstacle because we know how fast we can travel in the snow when we're not doing this.
right.
Like, you know, it's 23 right now. It'll probably get into the teens tonight. We're just dealing with cold, which we're geared up for.
Not a big deal.
I bought 3 nights worth of steaks just in case. You know,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, I have a steak when I get home. You know what I mean?
Why don't you get turned around? Because I think we're gonna need you to get off this hill.
Well, so I think that how this goes now that I'm aired down more, I think this is going to be a really big indicator of what we can do.
Yeah. Right.
How hard is it for me just to get back to where I was?
Yeah. Right.
How hard is it for me to get turned around?
Yep.
But by the way, guys, how badass
Oh my
is
God,
it?
dude! Come on.
We're the only ones up here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And those snowmobiles thought we were crazy.
Yeah, they were like, we didn't. Yeah, I got to put on my Canadian accent. It's like, we didn't expect to see any trucks up here today. Eh?
Well, I don't think we've ever seen anything up here like that today. Ever. This is where we learned the only way to get off this mountain was to go back where we came from.
Here's the plan. I'm gonna have a permanent umbilical to you. You're gonna have a permanent umbilical to him, and we're gonna one-shot this back to old Richard's cabin.
Cross the meadow to the old tracks and keep going.
Yep. I'm gonna hit the Toyota button. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna start acting like a Toyota guy the rest of the time. I'm gonna flatten out my hat and I'm gonna start vaping. So you'll see vape smokes on the way down.
Oh, Toyota, get you home.
Yeah, I know.
Get you there, Toyota, get you home.
I see that in my comments all the time. Anytime I say something good about Jeep.
I don't really have good recovery points in the front. I'm not finished with this build.
Well, the good news is those hooks are stout in these.
Oh yeah.
It's a really good recovery point.
And they're gold.
Dude, like 10 years ago and beyond, everything was hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Closed loop is relatively, like, it's not new, but it's only become popularized recently. But hooks work great.
Wind me up, put me down, stop me up and watch me go. I'll be running circles around you sooner than you know. And you jerk it out.
All right, so we are trying to make our way back to a little cabin to spend the night tonight. We're making our way through this meadow and we're getting stuck quite a bit. So what we're doing is we have a kinetic rope between Nate and I, and we also have my winch connected. We're just gonna leave it connected in free spool because I've been winching him back and he's been pulling me forward. And so right now what he's doing is he's trying to cut new tracks in this very deep snow. And should he get stuck, I can winch him back out and he can keep going. And should he not get stuck, I can follow him. So that's what we're doing right now. It's kind of I've never done a setup like this before, but we're just leaving the winch line and the kinetic rope connected. This metal full of uncompacted powder proved to be too much even for the Toyotas on 39s with 3 PSI. Soon enough, we realized we needed to take a different approach.
Okay, this tugging and winching is not getting us anywhere. So Nate's in some pretty deep snow. We're gonna get the traction boards out. If he can just get 20 yards farther, he can winch himself out, which would be way better, and then I could winch to him and we could all get out of this mess. So right now we're gonna go for traction boards.
So we just gotta keep this thing up, and then every time it falls, we'll do that again.
All right. This is a doozy.
It's a doozy.
Hey, this is like our initiation to snow wheeling, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, this is not rare.
Okay, this is common?
This is very common.
Oh, good, good. Here I thought it was special. Cool, baby. Go to your home. Go to your home.
Go to your home, Paul.
Go to your home. Woo-hoo! Back on the track.
See you later, dude.
Bye, dude. See ya. Nice doing trails with you.
Jeez, man.
What a mess.
It's crazy. You can walk in that and you don't sink at all.
Right, this stuff is just so, this has been compacted a few times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff's just open powder. Woohoo! We're moving on a trail again. Boy, feels good to be doing that. Boy, that was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. I learned a ton, and I'm still having a blast right now, believe it or not, even though I think I just got stuck again. At this point, we decided to get all the way back down the mountain so we could set up camp and start cooking some steaks as soon as possible. Look at this T-bone steak that Lance cooked me, holy cow. And also we're gonna try this. We're going for a hike bourbon. Well, we didn't go for a hike today, but this'll do. Inside the tent, Nate had a very special activity planned. All right, so we are 3 Americans in a tent in Canada. And from what I understand, there is something in Canada that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, certainly not in our world.
Not the world, the U.S.
The U.S., our known world, and that is ketchup flavored potato chips. So Nate made sure that we got a good sample of all the different kinds of ketchup chips. So we're gonna take a second and we're gonna go through every one of these things. And
oh, they got ridges.
Yeah,
dude, you got to try the spicy ones. Those are so good. I buy ketchup chips every time I come to Canada now. I discovered them earlier this year, and I can't remember which ones are my favorites. Every time I come, I just buy like 4 or 5 different brands.
Well, these are good.
This is the most ketchupy. The other ones, I would argue, like they taste like ketchup, like in the way that like a LaCroix tastes like whatever fruit.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh,
essence of.
This barely tastes like lemon.
The extra ketchupy ones, it was like, that's the most accurate flavor so far. That's definitely ketchup. Old Dutch in Canada. Old Canadian Dutch.
Those are really good. They taste really like potatoey, not like potato chips kind of taste a little bit different than potato to me, but this actually tastes like potatoes.
Oh yeah. This has turned into like a ketchup chip party. I think you need to get all of them. You need to do this is like a vertical tasting.
Yeah.
Lance is gonna pick a winner, I think.
I gotta tell you. The spicy one's favorite chip. Favorite chip.
Spicy. Miss Vicky's. What is it? Sweet and spicy ketchup. Ketchup secret at PC? I see one's for the French Canadians. Okay.
I think those are my favorite too. No question.
No doubt. Spicy, ketchupy, French Canadian title. My favorite as well. I think we need to eat all these chips tonight, guys. It's like saying we need to drink all this whiskey tonight.
Yeah.
As we awoke from our carb-induced comas, we found another majestic Canadian morning waiting for us. This would be the morning we'd convoy back to the United States, so we aired up and got ready to head out. Okay, we went to the Whipsaw, and the Whipsaw whipped us a little bit, but we made it out, we made it back, and we still had a great night last night, and it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was really fun getting to know both of you guys.
I have never done snow wheeling like that, and there's like no better person to take me out and do it than you, man. So I had a blast. Thanks.
You bond with people whenever you go out and you battle.
Exactly.
We're soul bonded.
So, but if you're watching this and you've never been out snow wheeling before, there are things that you need to know. So what I recommend is go watch Nate at Dirt Lifestyle, watch his snow wheeling videos. The guy's an encyclopedia of how to do it right.
Like, this isn't something that anybody should go do. It's definitely something I would never recommend solo.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you've got a good team of people, you're geared up for it. Like, it's so hard to beat. There's no bugs right now. There's no dust. Our rig, once the snow melts, our rig's gonna be cleaner than when we got here.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, we didn't make it all the way through the Whipsaw this time, but I guarantee I'm coming back for the Whipsaw. Maybe in the summer, but I'm coming back for the Whipsaw.
After the Kootenies experience, where I learned much more about driving in powder, I convinced a group of other YouTube channels to come out to Idaho and explore an area I'm very familiar with, the Middle Fork of the Boise River.
Welcome to this winter adventure. And I know it doesn't look like winter yet, but there's a storm forecasted, which seems so odd because we have blue sky and it's warm right now. But we're headed up past this dam called Arrow Rock Dam, and we're What's up?
What's going on?
So I'm also here with a few friends. We got David from.
That's a little generous.
David from Off the Grind.
Acquaintances.
Rob from Revere Overland. I know you don't know these guys; they're total strangers to you, but I'll vouch for them. They're okay people.
Hey, David, can I borrow your Morphlate system? I forgot to bring deflators. Folks, this is why it pays to have YouTuber friends, because they always have good gear. And when you're a bonehead and you forget your stuff, they can help you out.
Always here for you, buddy.
As you can see, David is a good guy, which almost made me feel bad for the prank Rob and I played on him the night before.
Okay, so we're gonna play this prank on David. So his steering box has been giving him trouble lately. He says like not feeling right, and so so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to play into his fears that there's something wrong with his Bronco. And I'm gonna zip tie this harmonica to like someplace on his Bronco, so when he's driving down the road and making a bunch of sound. I'm gonna go put this on his Bronco. Turn his lights off. He's looking out here. Oh yeah, that's on there, good. Alright, sorry, not sorry, David.
David, I just want you to know, this was not my idea. I'm just the cameraman. You can't blame me for that.
Along with the two knuckleheads who so rudely interrupted my intro, we also had Nate Mueller from Outdoor Auto with us in his very nice Toyota Tundra.
Oh God, it's beautiful. Growing up here, sometimes I take it for granted a little bit, but then I come up on times like this when there's no one else out here, it just hits me all over again how pretty this place is. I gotta tell you guys, these 37-inch Ditto Recon grapplers are just eating this road for lunch right now.
I could use an extra 2 inches back here.
And we're just coming into Twin Springs.
Okay, so we just pulled over this place called Twin Springs. I am from this area of Idaho. I've driven past this place countless times and I've never stopped in. But Nathan over at Outdoor Auto said we got to stop here and we got to see what's inside. So let's go check it out.
There's a rattlesnake tank in the corner right here, and you'd pull over and you'd put money in a jar and you stick your head to the glass, and when it struck at you, if you didn't flinch, then you'd get all the money in the jar. But the guy that died, so now there's just like a rattlesnake skin in there, I think, or a stuffed one. That's the old rattlesnake bubble right there.
The name Twin Springs comes from a very hot spring that fuels the town in more ways than one. This bar still has the feel of a 19th century pioneer saloon and is filled with tidbits of history at every turn, some of which is almost hard to believe.
The rumor on this place, there is some ounce of truth in this. Honest to God, if somebody knows the full history, they should comment, right? But the rumor is sometime in the 70s or late 60s, this place exchanged hands because it was a drug deal and gambling debt. So somebody got in mega trouble and ended up having to essentially give it to somebody else to get out of trouble. So it's got a really super varied and fascinating history.
Twin Springs has more chickens than people living in it, but everyone seems to be quite friendly.
What do you want?
He wants you.
What do you want? Pecking my foot?
That's Johnny Walker. That's Brave Bear.
Hey, Johnny Walker.
They've also built tilapia fish ponds as a sustainable source of food for both the residents and guests and the local river otters.
It's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
And just randomly, you know where we are? We just did all that driving, and then we're gonna go right past this. It'll be back to nothing for a long time.
The resort has cabins for rent, and one in particular has a very interesting garage carved right into the side of the mountain.
Well, he had dynamite, and he liked to use it.
Oh wow, yeah.
We also got a chance to look inside one of the cabins.
So we're in this cabin here at Twin Springs, and it's super cozy. Rocks on the walls, and it's got they just run the water, basically radiant heat through the floor. It's so warm in here. Just has me thinking like tonight it's supposed to get down to like 6 degrees. If we have a bug out spot, it might be this one. I might just come back here.
Such a cool spot. I'm so glad we stopped.
You guys see the cave up on the left, like 30 feet above the road? That's where they drilled. They were going to do a dam here.
Oh, wow, look at that.
There's one on the right that's straight into that cliff face coming up over there.
Wonder what wildlife calls that home now.
There's another hot springs to your right. You've got to cross the river to get in that one, though.
There was one more hot springs Nathan and I wanted to show off on our way up to Atlanta.
Hot springs is right on your left as you pass the bridge.
So we stopped here at this hot springs called Loftus Hot Springs. Now, I am totally okay with mentioning this hot springs because it's a known place. It's not like a secret hot springs, but it is a beautiful hot springs. It has a waterfall cascading down into this pool. It cascades down into another pool. And you know, when it's freezing outside, you got these hot springs you can stop and take a dip in. It's pretty nice. So anyway, Loftus Hot Springs.
It was now getting late in the afternoon, and the gloom of the incoming storm, mixed with a low sun in the sky, made for a perfectly moody drive on what seemed to be an abandoned river road. The quiet of the Idaho winter lulled us into a rhythm of bends and curves as we traced the river. Setting up camp right next to the river like this is something I've done often, but never with an incoming snowstorm.
So I'm just kind of finishing setting up camp, and it's supposed to be cold tonight, although it's hard to imagine because it's like 34 degrees right now, and the forecast said it was going to be down to like in the single digits, and it's really hard to think it's going to drop that much. So I'm hopeful that it won't be that cold tonight, but just in case, I've been trying to get this Vever heater here to work, this diesel heater, and I've been experimenting with it, and the problem is it draws too many watts. Like it draws, or amps, it draws a certain amount of amps that my little external battery doesn't have enough juice to power it. And so what I've been doing is plugging it into the truck, running the truck, letting it get really, really hot so the glow plug in it isn't pulling so many watts. Once it gets warmed up, turning it off, plugging it in right away to my own battery, and then when it starts up, it doesn't take so much juice and it runs fine. And once it gets running, it's like, I don't know, like 17 watts or something like that. Like it could run for 2 days and it would be fine. But it's just getting it going and keeping it going. And so I'm hopeful that I will have some heat tonight. It's be a new experience. I've never tried to use one of these on the trail, but I have backup. So Rob's got power in his Jeep that we tested and that would work. I think Nate brought a huge external battery that would probably work. And so I think I'm gonna be warm, but I wanna do it on my own, you know? So let's see if this thing works. I can't believe there's 3 guys who have as much gear as Rob, David, and I, and no one brought an awning. So we're like a bunch of noobs out on the river right now trying to like stay dry, and it's just not happening. So
note to self, bring awning next time. I forgot I volunteered to make dinner tonight, so I'm gonna make a taco soup or taco chili, soupy chili taco thing. I think it's gonna be delicious.
Are you cooking for all these guys?
Yeah, you too.
Oh.
So this mixture has pinto beans, refried beans, corn, it has diced tomatoes, and basically like a packet of taco seasoning. And it's like a taco in a bowl. It's so good, just a little spicy. I've never made this much of it though, so I'm not really sure how this is gonna turn out. This whole bowl is full.
Good?
That's so good. Yeah.
Yes, no? Rob likes it.
This is Kentucky Ale, but it's bourbon barrel Kentucky Ale. I usually like Kentucky Ale, but the bourbon barrel stuff is, I think it's disgusting. So I brought it for them to try.
It's really good. How can you think this is gross? This is delicious. Oh, dude, that's really good, actually.
You like that?
Yeah. Surprise! It's good! Okay, update on the heater situation. So my tent smells like diesel exhaust. We tried it a couple different ways. We tried to move the exhaust pipe, and it still is just pumping in this terrible diesel exhaust smell. Also, like, I'd like to maybe not die in my sleep tonight, so I'm just going to not use a diesel heater. I'm going to air out my tent for the next however long it takes, so it doesn't smell like exhaust fumes in there, and just bundle up. I brought enough stuff on this trip that I should be able to be warm even without that diesel heater, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work, because I've never really got it to work yet. So we're just going to punt for tonight, try again tomorrow, and try to go up there and get a good night's sleep. As night settled in, we huddled around what cover we could find and watched the snow start to fall in earnest. So the snow has finally started coming down, like en force. Big snowflakes falling, and they're really piling up, and it's awesome. Also, maybe it's a little scary to be out here on the side of the river in this big old snowstorm, but it's really pretty to watch. So for the time being, I'm going to enjoy the show that nature's putting on right now, try to get some sleep and have a good day tomorrow. There's something about fresh snowfall that makes everything feel new, even if just for a few hours in the morning. As a kid growing up in Idaho, every time I'd see snow in the morning, I'd want to go play in it and hope school might be canceled. But waking up this morning on the river, I realized we'd inadvertently camped over an underground hot springs, so the snow was melted all around us. A new experience even for someone who'd been born and raised here. But I still had that familiar feeling of wanting to go out and play with my friends in the snow. Morning. It is a brisk morning, but it's not actually too cold. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed about the snowfall. I really thought we'd have more than this. This is like kind of a pathetic amount of snow. But I'm curious as we go farther north towards Atlanta this morning, if there's more snow, like more accumulation along the way. Atlanta is a weird place. It'll get dumped on while places around it won't. So I'm hopeful that we'll still get into some snow today. It's just cold enough though that coffee sounds really good, and David from Off the Grind is super into coffee as well, so we made a compromise. I'm gonna boil the water in my Jetboil Flash, and he's gonna brew the coffee in his French press. And look, it's not that I don't like French presses, but I'm so spoiled with my AeroPress. So I'm gonna give him a shot and see how his coffee comes out. All right, see this French press. David's made his French press coffee. Ooh, and it smells good. It does smell good, I'll give him that. That'll do, David. That'll do, sir. That's good. Glad you approve. Cheers, man. Cheers. I still think the AeroPress is better.
The branches that we came through yesterday are so weighed down right now. It's scraping the sides of the Jeeps, but it's so pretty to drive through this right now. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm loving watching all the snow fall off the branches.
Another aspect of waking up the fresh snow is the ability to see what animals have been lurking nearby. And Rob and David found fresh tracks that were worth stopping to look at. So here's the thing about camping out in like the wilderness areas is like during summer camping, you go to sleep at night, you hear things, maybe you don't, I don't know, you sleep, you wake up, you kind of move on. In winter, there's like evidence of what's actually happening when you're camping. That's happening all year long. In winter, you can actually see that, yes, there was a large predatory cat or wolf that walked through your camp last night. Just goes to show you're never really alone out here.
Ain't shady, baby, I'm hot like the prodigal son.
We're coming up here to Barber Flats, and there's that spot up there. We could try to get up there if we wanted to.
Big about the leany, meany, money, mo, and flower. You're the chosen one.
Yeah, I think we should. All right, let's see how these Nitto Recon grapplers are going to do in the snow. This is where it gets a little shelfy. There's a sketchy looking spot here.
So we started climbing this road that I know well in the summer, but I've never driven in the winter. And it's a little slippery. It's, you know, it's a little off camber. It's a pretty steep climb. We've come up to a pretty massive washout. And we've decided that since none of us are like professional snow drivers and we're not really confident enough maybe to like try to handle this level of a washout, we're going to try to turn these rigs around or back them back down, which is equally dangerous. I think we're all feeling good, we're all feeling confident, but we're gonna try to get these rigs back down the mountain and then keep on to Atlanta.
Bit off more than we could chew a little bit?
Maybe, well, we're not biting this off.
No, definitely not.
Oh! Alright, so I'm using my rear camera here to just try to make sure I'm centered in the road because I'm about to come up to this first kind of little whoop or washout off camber, and there's something about going through an obstacle backwards that feels way worse than going through it forwards.
Let's put, hey, come forward. Let's put traction boards right there. You have some?
Yeah, good idea, I'll pull them out. Good idea. All right, we're gonna use traction boards.
When you get around there, can I have a spot to make sure I'm not sliding into this washout?
Just, yeah, straight back. I don't think you need to back up.
Okay.
This should hold.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what it looks like, so.
You've got 3 traction boards banking you in.
Okay.
And 1 right in front of your tire.
Okay.
So you should get grip on that one.
Just crawl?
And should keep
you.
Yeah, I've got more traction boards on the back. Should we put them down?
Yeah, we can put traction up here, maybe you won't slide.
Okay.
Slipping so much.
straighten out. There you go. It only took 8 traction boards. Well, 4.5.
Yeah, 4. He does have a little cute baby boards.
Get him.
So traction boards, worth having.
All right, I think this is the last Huff obstacle. Obstacle is the wrong word. It's just a little washout, but it's harder in the snow, going backwards.
Yeah, this doesn't look as, like there's not as much of a drop off here, but it's still not gonna be fun.
It's slanted towards.
There's 0 traction.
Yeah.
So. Should we put the baby boo-boos down here too?
Yeah, I think so. So that we can use the baby ones to get up higher.
Yeah, I think that's
just
gonna
like that, yeah.
Okay, now it's my turn to go on that backwards. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna wait right here for David to come spot me, just in case.
I wonder if you can turn around here.
You know, let's just see if I can do it backwards.
Okay, this just seems super sketchy.
I know, turning around seems sketchy to me too. Almost like, I know.
Yeah, let's just try it.
Yeah, you good? Your backs are about to straighten out a little. Backs are hitting.
I swear he went through that more easily than you did.
I think there's something to be said for a longer wheelbase when it comes to these things. Like, you got more weight kind of spread out over a dip, and so you don't fall into it quite as much in a truck.
It's still, I bet you that wasn't fun. You didn't
no.
enjoy that.
I would, no. I'd rather go down forward, even if it's more difficult.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, this has been kind of a little bit of a quagmire, but I gotta tell you, I wouldn't trade it. It's so beautiful, like looking out and seeing the mountains and the river. Man, I love this road, and I am not sorry we did this. This is how much I hate Broncos. Not even phased. Shots fired. It can take everything.
You prepped another one?
You always have
You're
one
gonna
ready.
keep
Dude, I'm from
going?
Idaho. You always have one ready. Always. You never know. This is winter.
This is honestly super freaking cool. Snow is so pretty right now.
This last section of road into Atlanta is my favorite stretch of the Boise Middle Fork. During the summer, the farther you go, the less people you see. And in the winter, as we got closer to Atlanta, we became totally immersed in the winter wonderland surrounding us. The road slowly inches its way towards the south side of the Sawtooths, and the river reminds you that this mountain snow is a vital part of the watershed and ecosystem we can sometimes take for granted. As we got deeper into the Idaho winter, things started to change, but we had no idea how much change we were in for in the next 24 hours.
Is it snowing? Oh yeah, maybe we're driving towards snow. There's 2 elk running along the river ahead of us. Get out, it's a whole herd. Awesome. With the snow falling, it's just beautiful. So when Kate was a kid, and they had their cabin up here, there was no driving, and you would snowmobile at like 30 or 35 miles. I've never used a snowmobile, but I would like to add that to the list of things to do.
Well, we're just a few miles outside of Atlanta, and we're going to connect with Nate again. He said there's a couple things in Atlanta that are worth seeing. I think he said like a jail and maybe a graveyard. I don't know that we'll be able to see them because it's so snowy, but hope that we do. And then tonight, Lance and Chris are gonna join us, and we're gonna all camp together in a campground there that's close to town. And I don't know, there's hot springs and stuff close by too, so there's like a lot to see in Atlanta, and I'm looking forward to getting there.
There's definitely more snow up here.
Atlanta sits on the edge of the Sawtooth Wilderness and is home to a handful of residents who still keep the roots of this pioneer mining town very much alive.
I think up here is where Nathan's house is.
And the town's newest resident is our very own Nathan Mueller.
Oh, here he is.
We're about to send out the search party.
Hey guys, did you get my texts?
Huh.
Oh, I was texting you on Garmin. I was letting you know, like, hey, we're just messing around on the snow. We drove up the road at Barber Flats that goes from middle to north, and we got like a third of the way up. And
So you probably had some fun on that.
we had some fun.
We just drove to the top of the mine hill, way up there.
Oh, you did?
But in the Can-Am with tracks. Guess what else? We got the bar opened up, but it's a speakeasy style, so we have to leave our cars up here and sneak in the back door.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds
Let's go
so
get some
fun.
beers.
Let's go do it.
What you have to know about a town like Atlanta is that the community relies on each other for everything, which means it's very tightly knit. And even if you're from Idaho, you're not a local until you've lived here for a winter. So we were grateful to be allowed in for a drink. If you ever visit the Beaver Lodge, be respectful and leave a big tip. It takes a lot of work to keep this place open, and I, for one, am grateful for it.
Cheers. Did you just down that whole thing?
You're gonna burn so good, but it's last call. They're closing down. Gotta do it.
What an idiot.
You can't let it go to waste.
After the Beaver Lodge, we met up with Chris and his JKU 137s with the metal coke suspension, and Lance and his Bronco 137s. Our campsite was tucked away in a forest near hot springs that Nathan really wanted to show us. I think this is a very snowy camp, as good as any very snowy camp, and we should set up our tents and call it a night.
Yeah, set up your tents as fast as you can. Let's go jump in some warm water. And be secure in our manhood.
warm urine-free water.
Yeah.
I mean, until I get in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anybody's
What about what Chris did in it? Does it have to be free of that stuff?
So we went to see the hot springs, even though the temperature was in the single digits. And it was actually quite nice.
The townies scrub the whole thing out, drain it, put the plug back in, refill it.
Yeah.
So it's a very clean hot springs.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
However, if you want to see a bunch of dad bods soaking in a hot springs together, you have to find an OnlyFans page for that, because I have zero desire to show that here. Well, we found the snow. Back at camp, the cold temperatures were making everything just a little bit harder, something that became a theme later on for some of us.
What's the problem?
It's just frozen. Like, so I love the Smart Cap, and I don't think this is a knock on the Smart Cap at all, but these latches, which I love, get frozen, and so they don't actually open when I don't think they were like tested in the Idaho winter, and so they get real frozen. They don't want to open again, which stinks when you just want to get your ladder out and like get into your tent. So lucky enough, Rob has a knife let me borrow, this Gerber knife, which I can get in there and pry him open. Now we have a ladder. Thanks, Rob.
Hey, Will.
Yeah. Come here. Hold on. My ladder is frozen.
Your ladder's not set up right. Hey, I'm gonna come get it before you kill yourself.
Is it like not locking in?
No, it's the step's not locked in.
It's
not locked.
It's just that one. I just have to not step on that one. That sucks. How's your ladder, Rob?
I don't have one.
Oh, really? Oh, you just climb up.
Yeah, I wish I had a ladder.
Well, you don't wish you had this ladder because you might just like break your neck on accident.
All
right, that's camp. Got camp set up. Morning. Well, we got our Idaho winter. It's definitely here. I think it was down to in the single digits last night, 5-6 degrees or something like that. So very frigidly cold, but it does something to the snow that's really nice. It makes the snow dry and crisp and not wet and soggy like it's been. And so it definitely, this feels like an Idaho winter to me. This morning it's like, yeah, this is what I'm used to. So Lance, how does the winter feel to you? Does this feel like an Idaho winter to you now?
Yeah, it's nice and dry. Cold.
Very cold though.
Yeah, it was about 0. It was 9 when the sun came up. Pretty awesome.
Chris, how are you doing this morning, man?
I am so cold.
Are you sitting in the car to warm up?
Yeah, it's mainly my feet. My feet are like just frozen.
Yeah, we have a few people with cold feet. David has real cold feet too.
Yeah.
My toes feel like they're being stabbed right now.
Yeah, you can't get away from that. You do fresh socks and then time.
I'm about to just jump in the fire. We'll see how that goes.
This is my drink this morning. I kept this in the tent with me, so it was not frozen about 20 minutes ago when I got it out. And there's a big block of ice in there now. Everything's starting to freeze up.
We are right at the foot of the Sawtooth Mountains. We're on I would call it like the backside of the Sawtooth Mountains, and they are just so beautiful. We can just see the outline of I think it's called Greylock Mountain that's behind us, and it's just phenomenally beautiful this morning because the skies are really blue. It's really crispy out there. So I'm not exactly sure where we're gonna go, but I know we got some plans to go mess around in the snow. So it should be fun. Let's go.
We were all glad to turn our engines on and let our rigs heat up, which reminded us that we needed to use our auxiliary fuel since there's no real gas station in Atlanta, and we had to make sure that we could eventually get home without issues. But some of us had other problems. Chris was feeling ill and decided to head back to Boise, and David had another problem. David couldn't move his steering wheel at all, and our best guess was that his Bronco was somehow frozen solid underneath. So he went to work trying to thaw it out, which is almost an impossible task when it's this cold outside.
So our situation with David's Bronco has gone from bad to worse. The steering box is locked, and it has something to do with like maybe frozen water in the steering box. Yeah, so it's not good. He can't turn his front tires, and so we're trying to figure out how to at least get him out of here, which might involve just towing. So I think the decision is to tow. It's going to be a real sketchy, dicey tow because he can't move his front tires, so we're just going to try to hopefully like slide him around the corners. But the good news is I packed my trusty Factor 55 recovery bag. This is a Sawtooth bag, and it literally has everything we need in here. We've got soft shackles, we've got a tow strap, we've got a tree saver, we've got a little harness. So I think we can put this together in a way that works. And then the towing, we'll see how that goes, but at least we got the stuff to do it.
You don't have any recovery points on the back.
Yeah, but I have in this kit a center
perfect.
pulling point, so we're good.
I can't stress enough how important it is to have high quality recovery gear and to understand the basics of how to use it. We took a 30-foot tow strap and ran it through the tow hitch receiver, then connected each of the ends to the front hooks on David's Bronco, which worked, except for the fact that he couldn't steer, which is a very bad towing situation.
So that's not working. Not enough traction really to pull and yank that 5,000-pound thing sideways currently. So Nate just radioed in and he's got like a very, very powerful propane heater, and we're gonna see if we can just really heat up that steering box and get it unstuck.
This is what I meant earlier when I said the community depends on each other. The owner of the Greylock Lodge showed up with this 150,000 BTU heater, which put out enough heat to thaw David's steering rack and make it possible for him to turn his front wheels again. So we were able to drive out of the woods and get him back to Nathan's garage. But David still needed to figure out what to do next.
Okay, so we got the Bronco back to Nate's place. I really didn't want to end the trip this way. No one wants to end a trip this way, right? But like, it just sucks so bad. We've had such a good time.
So while David was diagnosing his Bronco problems, Rob and I went with the owner of the Greylock Lodge to see it up close.
So we met up with the owner of the Greylock Lodge, which is this really cool house in Atlanta that's available for rent for people. It has room for 12, and it has 2 balconies that look over Greylock Mountain, hence the name Greylock Lodge. And it's like the best view of Greylock Mountain in town. It's incredible. Plus, just so turns out, he has a Can-Am with tracks on it. And so we're thinking we might just get in this thing and take it up the mountain and see what it does.
So while David was climbing his figurative mountain with the Bronco, we were climbing a literal mountain with the ATV.
He's got a brand new car. Looks like a Jaguar. It's got leather seats. It's got a CD
After fixing the Bronco, David started making his world-famous old fashions, and we showed up just in time for a white elephant gift exchange with everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, so Rob hit 100,000 subscribers, which we've kind of made light of, but it's a big deal.
Big dang deal.
Big deal.
So we want to do something. So we just did this gift exchange. It was kind of fun and silly. But we have this. We know this is his favorite bottle of bourbon, Eagle Rare, and we're going to give it to him because it's a pretty awesome milestone.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So we wanted to say congratulations.
Oh, snap.
We got you all the way from Kentucky. Had somebody smuggle it here. A bottle of Eagle Rare, which we know is your favorite bourbon. I asked Elizabeth
Thank you.
at Overland Expo East.
Yeah.
I was like, what should I get him when he hits 100K? And she goes, get him a bottle of Eagle Rare.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Whoever sourced this for you must be a really, really great guy.
Honestly, congratulations, dude. Like, we're
Thank
super
you.
proud of you, man. That's really awesome.
After the festivities, Lance and I decided we wanted one more night in the snow, so we headed out to find a place to camp for the night.
Lance and I decided to camp tonight, and we're just having a great time sitting by the fire, roasting some Cornish game hens from Chris. Thank you, Chris. And along pulls up this green Jeep. These two Yahoos jump out, and it's Rob and David, and they brought me the Propex because they were worried about me getting cold tonight, which is so nice. So Rob's about to help me set up the Propex so I can have some propane heat tonight, which will be probably my most comfortable night on the trip so far.
This is the best thing about these drawer systems. The SHW ones. Like it's like a tote.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Just take the whole thing out. And it happens to be the perfect size for a Propex heater system. Everything you need.
Beautiful.
You're gonna have to buy one of these, aren't you?
I might. I'm not doing diesel anymore. I'm done. I never even started and I'm done.
Atlanta was rubbing off on us. Here we were taking care of each other, and I was thrilled to try out this Propex heater. At the very least, it didn't smell like car exhaust in my tent, so I was pretty happy. Rob and David stayed for a Blanton's by the fire before heading back to Nathan's warm cabin. But I'm a winter baby, and Lance is a true mountain man, so we enjoyed the quiet solitude of a cold winter night. The next morning, the Propex turned my tent into a sauna, and the Intrepid tent's massive front window gave me a view of an even snowier landscape than the day before. Lance and I are both early risers, and we weren't sure what was happening with David's Bronco, so we packed up camp in the snow and decided to head back over to Nathan's to check in. What we found out is that David's Bronco had frozen once again, and he needed it to thaw out before driving anywhere. So we took advantage of the extra time to set off with Nathan to see a couple historic highlights of Atlanta.
So we're outside of this cabin here, and it's just a preserved 1800s cabin. So it's really cool to see on the inside just, you know, what sparse small space these people had, but they had everything they needed. They had a place to cook and a place to heat, place to sleep, books, place to, you know, a desk to do any kind of desk work. It's like a little mini studio apartment that would go for a lot of money in New York, but here it's an old miner's cabin, and it's really, really cool to see.
We'll have to see if we can get into the jail, though. I think we can get into the jail.
We're breaking into the jail?
Yeah, we're breaking into the jail, and the jail has very interesting toilets. You'll have to check this out.
The jail is basic, rustic, cold, and has toilets made of barrels with a hole emptying directly into the creek below. Old school plumbing. There was also some additional information on how Atlanta got its name. Spoiler alert, they weren't thrilled with the outcome of the Civil War. I can only walk about 100 feet like this, and then my legs are tired. We now had to get David downriver, so we set out to see some sights that we had skipped on the way up.
This is so beautiful, it almost feels fake.
This is the first time I really had a chance to test these Nitto Recon grapplers in the snow. I was interested to kind of just feel this tire out in the snow, and so far it's been, I would say, good. I wouldn't say it's great, it's not phenomenal, but it's good. I haven't really been wanting for more traction, or I guess it hasn't really failed me in terms of traction. I think it's holding true to its workforce kind of label. It's a tire that so far, you know, can do off-road dry stuff just fine, but it's been pretty good in the snow.
One of the things I love about driving on a snowy road like this is just how quiet it is. I have my window down and there's almost zero road noise. The spring's on the other side of the road.
So we walked across this icy bridge to get a closer look at this geothermal hotspot along the river. The snow falling all around us made for a strong juxtaposition between the green grass and our frozen white surroundings.
Oh, warming my feet up nicely.
Yeah, dude, it's hot. Like, I don't think I could put my full body in there. So we're down here at one of many hot springs along the Boise River, and what some people don't know is that Idaho, particularly this stretch of the Boise River system, has more hot springs per linear mile of river than any place else in the country. So for us that are from here, it's kind of like, oh yeah, there's steam coming off. But for other people who aren't used to seeing hot springs, it's really, really cool. So coming down here with Rob and David, I got to kind of experience it again because it's just neat to see like lava heated water coming out and forming these pools.
We should cherish these moments with Rob because as soon as we hit pavement again, he's too good for us.
I'm already too good for you. I don't want to be left by myself.
This drive for me, anything that happened before this was worth it for this drive right now. This drive has genuinely been my favorite part of this entire thing.
This trip reminded me that everything changes, and sometimes all at the same time. But when you get the chance to see something you've loved forever through a fresh lens, take it. Because something new might pop into focus along that road you've driven 100 times. Sometimes all it takes is friends to join you, to make you stop and appreciate what you have right in front of you. This is my backyard, but I bet if you look again at yours, you'll find something new. Something you didn't know was there. That maybe was zip-tied to the top of your rig.
So I'm slowly making my way back home. I stopped at this rest stop and I noticed something as I was walking back to my truck. I don't know who did this. Pretty good one though.
As winter began to wane, we had time for one last snow wheeling trip before spring, and I knew exactly where to take my friends. We headed to the main fork of the Salmon River. This is my favorite river in all of Idaho, and it remains beautifully wild and free. And just above the river are the mountains that were still very much full of snow and gave us an adventure we'll never forget.
Do you smell that? It smells like freedom. Because we are standing right next to the longest stretch of free-flowing river in the lower 48 states. We're right next to the River of No Return, also known as the Salmon River in Idaho, and it is beautiful. We are here in search of snow, so we are driving along the Salmon River because we are about to head up the mountain and get into some snow wheeling and snow camping. So we're gonna have a ton of fun, I hope, but also the snow looks a little wet, looks a little slippery, so we're all a little nervous about what we're gonna run into. We're here with Rob from Revere Overland.
Hello.
We're also here with my good friend, oh, there he is, Chris. Chris, it's been a while since we've been out together, man. Feels like it's been hard to get together.
Yeah, it's been way too long. So it's nice to get out again and, you know, kind of returning back to this place, returning to old stomping ground from the old BDR and actually hanging out, and instead of just getting through it as quickly as possible, we're actually enjoying it.
But we're here in February instead of in July, and it's very different.
Yeah, there's just a fewer people in general.
Lance, you're back for more, dude.
Salmon River.
This is your old stomping grounds.
Oh yeah, I don't miss a Salmon River trip.
And also a mountain trip. We're about to head up the mountain and see how much snow we can find.
Frenchman grade.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, we're approaching Frenchman. All right, gents, I think we're on the grade now.
Looks like this is our first switchback.
First little patch of snow. I'll tell you what, Chris, having a heated steering wheel feels really good right now. I wouldn't know. I know, that's what I was telling you.
So we've crossed the snow line on the French Creek grade, and it has gotten slick. We're not cutting new trail. Somebody else has driven on this, but I felt the truck slip around quite a bit, and Rob felt his Jeep slip around quite a bit. So right now, Rob's putting the snow socks on, his Wrangler. I think everybody else is wondering if we should air down a little bit more or just go slower. So anyway, it's colder now. It feels like things are freezing a little bit, whereas before we were above freezing. So now's the time, I think, to be extra careful. Are you guys slipping a little bit?
Actually, not too bad.
You guys have the KO2s, which are pretty good.
Yeah.
If you look at the tread pattern on these KO2s, you can see that they're holding snow, and snow on snow gives traction. Yeah. I'm sliding all over the place, and it's not, but it's because I'm trying to stay in the grooves. I might get more traction if I'm just slightly off.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because like I was watching you guys slide, and I'm just following in your tracks, and I'm not sliding.
Still kind of making our way on these switchbacks, and they're just really long switchbacks. They take a while, but we're kind of in and out of snow, and some of the snow has been deeper than others, and there's been some pretty slick spots that have given me a little pause. Like my heart's jumped in my throat a few times because it's like, oh, I'm sliding the wrong way down this ledge. So we're gonna be extra careful, go slow, make sure we're on the uphill side from here on out. So here we are on the switchbacks. We're approaching the last one, and we'll come across the kind of the top of the hill here, and then we'll go find a place to camp. Hopefully that's an actual spot. I found it on Google Earth and kind of did some research on it. So I'm hopeful that it's a place that we can camp tonight, that it's flat, that it's available, that we can get out on the road and there's enough room for everybody. All those things, I have no idea, but we're gonna go find out.
What's going on?
Well, I'm not sure that the road is here. So the road's, it's one of those where it's on the map and you can see it on Google Earth in the summer, but the snow's obscuring it. So I thought maybe this was the road with this overgrown stuff behind me, but there's a path out that somebody has walked up here that clearly looks like there's a path, but it looks too narrow to be a road to me. So I'm a little confused on what we should do in terms of trying to even drive this direction or just punting and looking somewhere else. Punting turned out to be very easy. We just pulled directly across the road and set up camp. We were just about 500 feet above the snow line, but it was cold enough and snowy enough to call it winter camping. This is for Rob because I'm sure he's gonna want some propane heat tonight. Tent heaters would be a big part of this trip. Chris and I had finally got our diesel heaters working, and Rob was using a propane system. Lance started cooking steaks for everyone while Chris and I got the fire set up. And there's nothing like a nice warm fire when it's below freezing.
That's also why I'm looking.
So our goal is to have steak every night on this trip. Look at this steak that Lance cooked. Holy cow. Man, we're off to a good start. The four of us have become good friends because of adventures like these, and this adventure had something a little special to celebrate being together again. Okay, we're about to have the first bourbon of the night, and the reason we've been waiting to have it is because we've been waiting for the ice to be made in this Blue Eddy refrigerator. It makes ice. It's got an ice maker in it, which is totally crazy. So we're gonna have bourbon, ice. The bourbon is from Eagle Rare. It's from Rob, celebrating Rob's 100,000 subscriber accomplishment. He got it in Kentucky, brought it to me, and then I gave it back to him. So it's gone through the ringer. But we're gonna have Eagle Rare and ice from the Liddy Ice Maker.
You might think ice when it's freezing outside is a bad idea, but it was still cool, literally. After our toast to a snowy guys weekend, we did that thing where you stand around and talk about nothing, but it's so much fun no one wants to leave the fire. Well, that, and we all knew it would be a cold walk back to our tents for the night.
Good morning. Cheers. Let's take a look at where we are.
Where we were was just at the top of the French Creek Grade, between the Salmon River and a place called Bergdorf, Idaho. And it felt good to wake up in the snowy central Idaho wilderness.
Okay, we are just about packed up and we're gonna hit the road. What we're gonna do is just keep driving on this road we've been on and make our way kind of up the, I don't know, windy draw here, and then start heading toward a place called Bergdorf, which has a hot springs and is a winter destination. We're not going to Bergdorf. We're not gonna go to a hot springs. We're gonna stay cold. But we're gonna get on the road here in the next few minutes, and I think we'll be plowing tracks. So far, we've been driving in other people's tracks, and I think from here on in for a bit, we'll be cutting tracks, so it should be interesting.
None of us are very experienced snow wheelers, but we had the rigs, the gear, and just enough naivete to trudge into the mountains in search of deeper snow.
Hell, the snow's getting just a little bit deeper. Yeah, man, this is starting to get a little deep.
So we're cutting fresh tracks now, which is a lot of fun. It's pretty deep snow. There's probably, I don't know, 8 to 12 inches of snow on this road. There's a snowmobile who has gone before me a couple of days ago, which if I can keep 2 of my tires in that snowmobile track, then I can get a little more traction. I just slipped off a bit.
We'll use my tree strap and just pull it out, Will. We might be able to just drive over it.
Before long, we found a familiar landmark from our Idaho BDR trip a few years ago, the abandoned bus.
You guys want to stop at the bus?
Heck yeah, I want to stop at the bus.
Oh yeah, I'm with Rob.
So we're back at the bus. The last time we were here, I think it was 2 years ago on the BDR. Me, Rob, and Chris. Lance is with us this time, which is cool. It's clearly snowy, but it's kind of a nice little, I don't know, milestone or marker or memory to come back and see it again. What's it like in there, dude, in the winter?
Well, it's a lot like the summer, only colder. but I mean, really though, it's great being back here. You know, it's kind of reliving a little bit of the BDR trip that we did, and just seeing it like transformed by the snow. And yeah, this is really cool.
Looks like we have another down tree, and this one will definitely be a problem, guys. If it's short, we can pull it, but if it's long, we should cut it.
So this tree just doesn't give us quite enough clearance, so I thought we should saw it because it goes down and is wedged in between some other trees. Lance thinks we should just try to pull it, and that something will snap and give way and not become a projectile through my windshield. Lance is very confident of this, so he's giving me like the Lance guarantee, safety guarantee, so I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
Cool. Should we place some bets?
Yeah. Like upon my death, like
we'll die.
Everybody's clear, so if something bad does happen, everyone should still be safe, except for me.
The tree was not persuaded by the gladiator, so we took a different approach.
You got the saw?
So now you're thinking we should cut it?
Yeah, just the tip where it's overhang. I don't want to cut here because then you got to undercut because of the force coming down.
Locked and loaded. Oh, Lance just became real happy.
Well, we can't get all the way through because that's our diameter.
Okay, Lance has cut this thing like 3/4 of the way through, so we're thinking it'll snap. when I put some pressure on it now.
Hold it. Nope. I might get my axe.
Yeah, that's just a little too, I don't know. It looks like there's gonna be significant recoil if that thing snaps. It makes me a little nervous. That tree's bending a lot. So we'll just go slow, be safe. We don't have to be macho here. So that's our plan.
Yeah, what was your role?
I just want you guys to know that I was supervising, which is probably the most important role.
Okay, we've hacked through this thing. Third time's a charm, so let's see if we can tow it out of the way. All right, well, third time's a charm. And in what seemed like a matter of minutes, we hit another downed tree.
We got another tree down. This one might be a much bigger problem, guys. There might be a chance we can get under it.
Maybe we can get under it? As long as we're okay with taking a scratch or two, I think we can maybe shave some of these and get under it.
Okay, I'm either gonna pull up and give Lance a little boost to stand on so he can chop these branches off, or I might just see if I can get through because the branches look really supple. So this would be a good test here.
Autobots, roll out.
Flock to the feature called Haas. Let them be the stir to the style of your stew. Sit while the kick of the plug from aroma. Then grab a daisy to sip your favorite brew. Letting this soul fire be your first prior, but don't let the kick drum stop your big toe. See that the three will be your thread, but like my man Chuck D said, what a brother, no dance while I play. In a cue caught sway from my flower girls, China and Jet. The button is pressed in 89 will start the panic. From De La Soul and a Prince from Stet. Negative noise will be all divided. Dangerous, the dance population will croon. Ducks and cassettes will all be rid when paying position to the naughty noise called plug 2.
Will, have you looked at your top? Is it fully secured?
A lot of that was like the bed.
Guys, I think we should air down more.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, if you're struggling, for sure.
Well, I'm having a hard time breaking trail on this stuff. And I think I just need more float. So we're gonna air down a little bit more. Right now I'm at like 17. I think I'll go down to like 8 on each tire. I've got these Method bead grip wheels that should probably allow me to go down as far as I need to, but I think cutting the PSI in half will give me more float and kind of make it easier to break trail.
You guys ready? Roll out.
This is exactly snow wheeling, boys. Inches at a time.
It is tricky. It's a puzzle. Every inch is a puzzle.
We finally found the corner we could not master. The snow was deep and soft, and the Gladiator was getting no traction whatsoever. 45 minutes of going around a corner. This is winter driving, though. I mean, in these conditions, the snow is deep. There's not a compacted base underneath it.
I want to try this with the Bronco.
Yeah, and this is just a little bit of a mess.
So we're gonna do an experiment because here we are out here breaking trail. I've been breaking trail with no chains, no snow socks, just kind of airing down. I air down to 8, and then I air down to 6. And however, in the comment section in snow wheeling videos, you almost always hear something about chains. Like if you just would have put chains on, you would have done better. So I'm not convinced that's true, but we're gonna experiment with it. So we're gonna put chains on the Gladiator. So when I say I'm putting chains on, I mean Lance is putting chains on. My car. I will help you, dude. I think my hypothesis is I will dig and sink with chains. The chains are good for more hard pack surfaces, but not good for powder. When you're sinking down and trying to find a base, it will just dig and make everything heavier and all that stuff. However, let's do the experiment and find out.
Guys, I'm totally floored right now with these chains. It's like the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen. I mean, I think they work.
Your sock is loose.
So I guess I might as well fix that while Will makes a foot progress at a time. Uh-oh, he might be stuck.
No, I'm stuck, man. I'm good stuck. I did it. Thank you, sir.
So, this is the problem with chains. I was getting a lot of forward momentum, a lot of grip coming up the hill, but when we got into some soft stuff, it dug down into a pretty massive hole to the point where we had to use the kinetic rope to like get me out of it. So like we haven't done a recovery yet, except for the kinetic rope because of the chains. So for all the people out there who say chains are the way to go in snow, you're not wrong, but you're also not right. It's like, depending on the snow, depending on the angle of the hill, depending on your momentum, I am gonna keep the chains on the truck for a while and just kind of keep playing with them. And I've been really impressed by them, but this is the downside of chains, and this is what we were all kind of afraid of, that it digs in and you sink.
We now came to the conclusion that we were not making it up this mountain. So there was only one thing left to do. Head to the Salmon River.
Put your sunglasses on, boys.
Oh, that's glorious.
I love the snow and this late afternoon sun.
It's way easier going down. A little bit more fun, too.
Kind of uncontrolled. I'm just sliding around it, following the ruts.
Bobsled.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's exactly what it is.
Well, it's just plain fun coming down it.
All right, we're back to this corner that gave us so much trouble coming up. Let's see if we can get around it going down. I feel like going down, you just like slide around it. See what happens. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. Whoa, much easier and more fun. All right. Oh, that was way better going down.
For some reason, it's so much prettier coming down than it was going up. I wonder if it's just because the sun's out.
Yeah, we're getting on towards sunset. Idaho in its glory. Hey, do you guys want to try to camp just a little bit further down and actually drive down onto the sand?
I think I'd like to do the sandbar.
Good, me too.
I'm selfish. I want to order myself, I swear. You don't need nobody else, I swear. I want to order myself because I'm selfish. I want to order myself, I swear. You don't need nobody else, I swear.
How's this for a campsite? Oh, it's the Salmon River, baby. There's nothing better.
There's nobody out here,
We're
like
all-
anywhere.
We have the entire Salmon River to ourselves.
Yeah, like in the summer, this place is just wall-to-wall people. But like right now, there's no other lights from any other human.
Yeah, I feel like we won the lottery.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we need to get a fire going. There's nothing, you can't camp on a beach without a fire. And it's cold.
Fire and steak and bourbon.
Fire, steak, bourbon. That's all we're doing tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starting
now.
For Idahoans, the Salmon River is a special place. It's wild and free, a symbol of why we love this land so much and what brought us here in the first place. And we were very excited to have it all to ourselves tonight.
Throw me in the deep end. I'm ready now to swim. The air in my lungs may not last very long, but I'm in.
We were here 2 years ago in the summer, and like we camped right over there on this little spot that no one else had found yet, no one else had claimed, but like the sandbar that we're on now was mobbed with people. And so here in February, 2 years later, there's no one dumb enough to come out here and camp except us. So yeah, we have the sandbar all to ourselves. It's just beautiful, it's level, it's clean, the river's running by. We're gonna listen to the river all night, and it's just gonna be great. Chris, I see you're breaking out the Yahtzee grill. What are we having?
We are having some ribeyes with my special seasoning.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is this special seasoning?
Secret. top secret. And by top secret, I mean just a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of paprika, salt and pepper, and olive oil. The first time I used the Otzi grill was here, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, we did ribs at that other campsite just up the river.
This is a Otzi grill full circle moment.
It is.
Chris, thank you, sir. Thank you for cooking these steaks, man. They look so good.
Well, I hope you guys like them, and you know, this is the first cook on the Otzi this year, so hopefully it turned out okay.
Chris, this is more than okay, man. This is freaking delicious. Just like you. You're a delicious man.
I've been told that many times.
By your uncle.
Uncle Giuseppe.
So it's time to say goodnight. We are just gonna hang out on the campfire, enjoy the still air. It's a little bit warmer. I think it's probably like 35 degrees right now, so it feels really warm compared to what it was earlier today. And we're just hanging out, and the rest of what happens tonight should not be put on camera. Good night. Coffee on the banks of the river was exceptional the next morning. It was so good, I couldn't be bothered to change out of my pajamas before having a cup with the guys. So say what you want, I was warm and cozy in my silk bag pajamas. Sorry, not sorry.
So, Lance, we're testing out this new Inspired Overland super lightweight tent. What do you think so far?
This tent was purposely built specifically for me.
Oh yeah, why is that?
It's everything I want in a tent. It's ultra lightweight, it's minimal.
The reason that we thought it was cool because it weighs like 76 pounds or something, right?
Yeah, 76 I believe.
And it's like a soft shelled wedge tent.
Yes.
And you think it's okay?
It's perfect.
How's it hold up on the trail when you're driving?
You don't know it's there.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
And this is how you sleep. You sleep with all the windows open. You sleep with like 20 degrees and you have all the not just the windows, but the whole thing's unzipped.
Yeah, I'm out here to be in the wilderness, and I take as much of, you know, these creature comforts away just so I can be in the wilderness.
So what do you think about like Rob and I who are running heaters at night?
To each their own. I mean, it gets you guys out here.
I know what you really think though. We're just packing up camp now, and we're gonna head towards Yellow Pine today. It's quite a ways away, so we're gonna cover some miles on pavement, then we're gonna hop back on dirt, and hopefully hop back on some snow and wind up someplace snowy tonight near Yellow Pine. So I'm excited for the drive. It's a long one. Lance is having to head home today, so it's just gonna be Chris, Rob, and I on the trail. So let's hit it.
This is the moment in the trip we were feeling invincible, which is a telltale sign something bad was about to happen.
That's the motto. Throw back with no chaser, with no trouble. Popping that Moet, baby, let's make some bubbles. Puffing on that gelato. Wanna be seeing double. Oh, you know, that's the motto. Drop a few pills and pop a few champagne bottles.
Guys, I got bad news. I just crashed my drone. Crashed across the river. It's real easy to get to, Will.
The drone was in a terrible spot for recovery. Across the river in a tree, 100 feet up a rock wall. We tried to recover it, but it was too dangerous, so we came back and tried plan B.
But Rob, if I can still connect to that drone, I think we can download the footage.
Well, I've done it again. I have lost my drone today, so I don't know how many times I've done this. Crashed it many times. This is maybe the third time I've lost a drone. And we can see it, that's the painful part. We can see it, it's just across the river in a place that I can't get over and get it. Lance and I hiked and tried to get it earlier, but it's not possible. So we're sitting here trying to download footage from it. I think I can pop in a micro SD card and start downloading footage, assuming there's battery left.
Oh, it is downloading them?
It's downloading.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, Rob and I were just talking about like everything that's on that. It's good.
It's gonna ruin your video too if we don't download this stuff. The thing that kind of bothers me the most is that I'm sharing footage with Rob, and so I hope I can get him some stuff for his video. That is probably the most upsetting to me. I don't want to ruin his video or make his video less than it could be because we're sharing footage. I couldn't download it all because the battery's just like slowly draining. And once that battery runs out, we can't swap anymore, or we can't download any more footage from the drone. Bye drone, you've been so good. So much great footage. I'm sorry I abused you so much. Sorry to leave you in a tree, but hey, there are worse places in the world to have a grave than in that beautiful tree on top of a rock cliff overlooking the Salmon River. So you're welcome, Droney. Also, I'm sorry.
Part of every adventure is embracing the things that go wrong and letting yourself change plans when needed. And this was the decision we grappled with as we made our way toward McCall, Idaho.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
What we found on our way was a beautiful winter landscape that renewed our excitement to be out doing things that most people shy away from. It was just the three of us now, and we had one very important decision to make about driving on a road that was somewhere between being open and for snowmobiles only.
What do you got up there, Rob?
You might want to come take a look. Okay, after looking at this and just kind of talking about how much ire we want to draw from the snowmobile community, we're not going to come up this road. We're not going to try to drive to Yellow Pine on this road. Like, there's a point of pride with me. It's like, we can drive on this road. It's for all vehicles. But at the same time, I don't want to tear up a snowmobile road that's clearly heavily used. That seems just kind of like a jerk move. And it's late now, it's 5:30. There's no way we're gonna get to Yellow Pine tonight. So we're like, well, we could drive up this and see where it goes for an hour or two, or we could go back and camp on the lake. And so I think what we're gonna do is go back and see if we can find something on the lake to camp at, and just focus on having a great night and not focus on roads being closed and drones being lost. So here we are. There is a place I know right in here that I've been to before, and there's some spots along the lake here, and so we're just gonna backtrack a little bit and try to find a place to camp for the night.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
I knew of a little spot next to a pond that feeds into a lake. It was off the road a bit and secluded, especially in the winter. So I broke trail going in, and we found a great place to call home for the night.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
We were down a man without Lance, but there was no shortage of conversation as we huddled around the fire, drank very good bourbon, and recollected the adventure we'd been on so far.
Well, good morning. It was a wonderful cold night last night. We huddled around the fire, and then we turned our diesel heaters on, and we were nice and warm. I think it was probably 18 degrees last night, so I would consider that to be a pretty cold night. So Chris, you have some new gear that you're trying out on this trip.
Oh yeah.
For the first time.
Yep.
What do you got?
This is it.
Ooh, a new spare tire bag.
This is an Atelier Expedition Aventure. I want to say it that way because it's from Quebec in Canada.
Oh, and they speak French, and they speak French in Quebec.
Yes. However, I do not speak French, and so I just totally massacred the name.
Look at this. It says Fat Ow Canada.
Which I think
or Fiat. No, it's Fat. Fate?
Fate? I don't know. Ow.
I think that means it's a super premium.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you know what? Like, whatever that means, maybe made in Canada or manufactured in Canada, something like that. Anyway, this thing is really nice.
It also has a little Velcro spot, so you can put your favorite Venture to Roam patch right there and just have it on the trash instead of in the trash where you'd normally put it.
This is also your first time staying in the Top Oak tent.
Well, so I have 4 nights in it so far, and I have to say that I slept the best in it of any rooftop tent that I've owned. It's really dark in there. Like in the morning when I wake up, I think like, okay, the sun's just barely coming up. It's like, no, the sun's
It's
full.
9 o'clock.
It's like 9 o'clock, yeah. But it does have an awesome skylight, and you know what? Something else I really like that is it has the rails on the side.
Oh yeah, you've got your
boards
traction
underneath.
boards mounted to the bottom of the tent. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Swiss Army knife going on there, man.
Yeah, and then my shovel.
Oh, look at that.
Mounted up there too.
So it's a tent and kind of a rack.
Yeah.
What do you think of your tent, Rob?
Not a fan. It's really small. It's not easy to put up. Don't get a lot of headspace like you do with that one. I'm really jealous of all that headspace. Like you can barely move around. I feel like this is almost the same width, but I would not want 2 people in there. Ventilation's awful, so I get condensation every night. But it is really light. This is something you want for one person in the summer if you're going wheeling in a Jeep and you just don't want a lot of weight on the top.
Yeah. I guess it's all about the weight with this one. But they don't make these anymore, do they?
They don't. I think they're going to come out with another version which might solve some of the problems this one has.
Cool.
Which would be nice.
Today was the day we'd all go home, and it meant we probably wouldn't see Rob again for a long time as he was headed to Utah and then back to Kentucky. When you're at the end of an adventure with good friends, sometimes you start to see more meaning in the things that pass by your window. And I was looking out mine and thinking how lucky I am to have friends that want to go out and do these crazy winter adventures with me. This would be our last snow trip of the season, and while I love the change of seasons and warm weather camping, there's something really special about being in the backcountry in winter. So, to celebrate, I took Rob and Chris to my favorite breakfast place in McCall. The Shore Lodge is a place Kate and I go often, and they have a great breakfast with an outstanding view.
It's not quite as good as camp, but it'll do.
So here's to the last of winter, here's to good friends, and here's to finding time to do more adventures like this.